Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. In this video, I would like to explain about the variance and standard deviation for ungrouped data. Okay, for variance, actually we have the variance for sample and variance for population, but for your syllabus, we will only focus on sample variance as well as sample standard deviation. Okay, let's start with the variance. Okay, what is variance? Variance is the measure of variability. Variance determines how the values fluctuate. Okay, how our data values fluctuate around the mean value. And more specifically, variance measures how far each number in the set is from the mean and from every other number in the set. Okay. And for sample variance, it is denoted by the symbol as square. Okay. For ungrouped data, the formula to calculate the sample variance is given by these two formulas, the number 1 and formula number 2. For the first formula, the formula is 1 over n minus 1 multiplied with total of x minus x bar square. So n here represent the number of observation, okay, bilangan data. And then inside this summation notation here, we have x minus x bar square. X bar here represent the value of mean. So we must find the x minus the mean, and then we need to square that value. Okay, so in this bracket here, it is the difference between the value and the mean value. Okay, and then square it. Alright, okay, that is the first formula. As for the second formula, the formula is total x square minus total x close bracket square over n divided by n minus 1. N here also mean number of observation. Okay, total x here represent the sum of all observation. X is our observation. Total x is the sum of all observation. But this one is total of x square. X square is the square of the observation. Okay, from our x value, we square the x value. So that is x square. So total x means the sum of all squares of observation. Okay, so normally we will use the second formula. Okay, jarang kita akan gunakan formula yang pertama, tapi boleh untuk digunakan. For the first formula, to use the first formula, it is important to have the value of mean first. Okay, so we have the standard deviation. Okay, standard deviation is the most practical and commonly used measures of variation. Okay, and standard deviation is the square root of the sample variance. Okay. The primary measure of variation is standard deviation because the value of standard deviation is the original unit of the data. Okay. For variance, if you analyze the formula of variance, we need from this second formula here, to find the variance, we need total x square. Okay, we have the observation. Our observation is x. So we need to find the x square. So that means we need to square the unit. So the variance, the unit for variance is not the same as the unit of the original data set. Okay, but for standard deviation, it is the square root of the sample variance. Okay, when we square root something that is being squared, so you will get the original value. Okay, so that is why for standard variation, the unit for standard deviation is the same as the unit of the original data. For when we need measures of variation to describe a sample set, normally we will use standard deviation instead of variance. Okay, standard deviation, for sample standard deviation, it is denoted as the notation S here. Okay, for variance, it is S square. For standard deviation, we just use S. Okay, so since standard deviation is the square root of sample variance, so the formula of S is given by square root of S power of 2. S power of 2 is our variance. Okay, okay, and this formula here is just the formula inside the square root here is just the formula of variance. Alright, here let's try this example. Find the variance and standard deviation of the sample data below, and this data is an ungrouped data. Okay, so to find the variance, the formula is this one. Okay, in this formula, we need the value of total x. Okay, because we need that value to plug in into this. So total x means the sum of all observations. So our observations are 1, 7, 2, and 5. So 1 plus 7 plus 2 plus 5. So our total x is 15. Okay, next, we need this total x square. Okay, but we don't have the x square yet. This is our x. This is x, x1, this is x2, this is the third x, this is the fourth x. So we must find the x square. Okay, x square is 1 square, 7 square, 2 square, and 5 square. So the total of x square is 1 square plus 7 square plus 2 square plus 5 square. Okay, so total x square is 79. Okay, after that, plug in into the formula. Okay, okay, so start with a total x square. This one, total x square is 50. Total x square is 79. So 79 minus, and then we need total x. Total x is 15. This 15 here, this one. Okay, so minus 15 square. Okay, remember this. Okay, please be careful. This is total x, and then you square it. So 15 square divided by n. N is the number of observation, bilangan data. So we have 4 observations, therefore n is equals to 4. So divided by 4. And then over n minus 1. So n is 4, 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, and simplify your calculation. And the final answer is 7.5833. So this is the value of variance, S square. Okay, and then next, to find the standard deviation, for standard deviation, the formula is just the square root of the variance value. Okay, so square root of 7.5833, and the final answer for standard deviation is 2.7537. Normally, when you get decimal form as your final answer, please take at least 4 decimal places for your final answer. Actually, another one trick to find variance and standard deviation is by using your scientific calculator. Okay, so how to use scientific calculator in finding variance and standard deviation? And for the example, I will just follow the same example as this example here. Okay, and please note that this is for ungrouped data. Okay, so if you have your calculator like this, so now I'm using 5FX570ES Plus calculator. Alright, so the first step is always to clear the previous data and previous format of in your scientific calculator. So press Shift, clear, and I want to clear everything, so I'll press number 3. Okay, now everything have been cleared. Okay, next step is to change the mode of this calculator into statistical mode. So press mode and then number 3, and please choose number 1. Number 1 is for variance mode, so number 1. Okay, now in this calculator, we have a column of x. So now you need to insert all x values. So now we have 1, 7, 2, and 5. So 1 equal 7 equal 2 equal 5 equal. Alright. Okay, next, clear the screen. Alright. Okay, now for variance, this is the formula for variance. We need I'm using the second formula, by the way. So we need the total x square and also total x. Okay, so in your calculator, press Shift and then number 1. Okay, press number 3 to get the sum. Okay, first I want the total x, so I press number 2. So my total x is 15. Okay, now total x is 15. And then for total x square, Shift again, number 1, sum, then 1, total x square, 79. Total x square is 79. And then we need n value. This n value, number of observation. We can also get that in this calculator. Shift, stat, number 4, n for number 1. So n is, of course, 4 because we have 4 data. So n is 4. Okay. Okay, next step, even though we are using calculator right now, but we still need to show the formula, okay, in our working. Alright, so always write formula in your working. So the formula is the formula for x square, total x square minus total x square over n divided by n minus 1. Now plug in everything into the formula. (79) minus 15 square over 4 over 4 minus 1. Okay, without having to simplify this calculation, you can use scientific calculator to get the final answer. Okay, press Shift again and then stat number 1 and then press number 4. Okay, you have 4 options. Option number 1 is for the number of observation. Option number 2 is for the value of mean. Option number 3 is the value of a standard deviation of population. Option number 4 is the sample standard deviation. Okay, number 3 is the population standard deviation. Number 4 is the sample standard deviation. Okay, so press number 4. Okay, so this is the value of standard deviation. Okay, now we need the value of variance. So you just need to square this value. Okay, square this value, you will get variance value 7.5833. Okay. Okay, next we need the value of S, the standard deviation value. So in your calculator, you just need to square root again this value. So press square root, press answer, close bracket, equal. Okay, the calculator will give you the standard deviation value 2.7538. Thank you for watching.